Hello. So there was a lot of requests after I did the Cheerwine beer last week to start making this a regular thing. And yesterday, had a friend of mine come over and we did three different beers paired with a cigar. Took us about an hour or so to do that. So I need to edit that content down and make it about 10 minutes because I know your attention span's about like that. However, in our conversation, we discussed um, pairing different things with beer, and chocolate came up. And he's a head brewer. It's Carl Herzberg, head brewer at Mountain Valley Brewing up in Axton. If you've never been up there or down there or over there, depending on where you live, you've got to hit up Mountain Valley Brewing in Axton, Virginia. When I had my TV show back before the pandemic, they were one of my guests, and it was a great show. And I just kind of want to revisit some of their beers. But anyway, we discussed this one. This is a chocolate raspberry gose with some vanilla in it. And Carl told me yesterday that, oh, it'll be gone before you get up there. And I thought, no, I'll go right now. So I ran some errands and had a quick supper and headed up to Mount Valley. I talked to Herb up there and told him I was on my way. And he poured me a can, but there was still some in a keg when I got there. So I was able to drink it last night. So this isn't a reveal type review like I had with the Cheerwine Ale, but I still felt it was certainly good enough uh, to talk about. And while this specific one may be gone by the time you get there, they've always got something new and exciting every time you go up there. They Carl has done an amazing job, and Herb and Peggy have kind of just given him that brew house as his playground, and he never disappoints. I've known Carl for 10 years now, and every beer he's ever brewed has been a phenomenal beer. Even with beer styles that I typically don't gravitate to, all of Carl's has been good. So I'm going to discuss this one. I do have my Mount Valley Mug Club mug from last year's session. I'm going to pour this into a clear glass, mainly because I want to see the color. I've seen some pictures of this beer, but last night I had it in my Mud Club glass that's up there. Wow, it's so the pictures I saw, you could definitely tell there was chocolate in it, but it has definitely cleared up. But if this is what it looked like last night, which I'm sure it did, this beer was poured just 10 minutes before the one that I had. It still had the aromas and flavors there. But just first pour looking at it, it's very clear. I mean, just even though it has the adjuncts in it such as chocolate that dropped out. Just as I was pouring it, I could still smell the chocolate. Oh yeah, it's still there. Um, so I was going to drink it, and talk about it for a few minutes, and you know they may have some left if you get up there early in the week. Maybe not. They only did a quarter barrel, which is right about 7 gallons is all they did on this one. Wow. So goses are typically a sour type beer. That's the base of a gose. This one you do get that sourness across the tongue, a little slickness, which is fine for this style. The impressive part is you get the chocolate, you get the blackberry, and you get the hint of vanilla. Like I said, there's not a ton of vanilla in this, just enough to offset that sourness and whatnot that comes with a gose. But a good solid gose is fine without any different flavorings in it. This one especially, like I said, it's you get everything, and then you breathe out, and you still get that chocolate. Mm, wow, that's phenomenal. I hope Carl can redo this recipe. He also had up there, it was a strawberry gose, and Herb was telling me that some people have mixed the two, and I'm not a big fan of mixology when it comes to beers. Ever so, I mean, a black and tan is fine. Those are that's a fantastic style of beer. But when you start getting into mixing this beer and that beer, what are you creating? What are you losing? That's kind of my thought on that. So I did have a little bit left in my 2023 Mug Club glass, and I had the bartender just add a splash of that strawberry to the last probably 2 or 3 swallows of this one, and it tasted, for lack of better, like a chocolate covered cherry with a little blackberry drizzle on top. Or, I mean, that's probably the best way I could describe it. It was really, really good, and like I said, that's just a way of experimenting. There's a lot of traditional guys out there. I'm kind of a traditionalist. I like beer that tastes like beer. Give me a lager or a pilsner any day. I mean, I'll drink those year round. That's my go-to style. And even last night, after I had the chocolate um, Gose here, chocolate blackberry Gose, I was like, well, I want a beer that tastes like a beer, just to kind of cleanse my palate. They've got a chocolate porter on draft, and I was like, well, I've already got that chocolate thing going on. A porter's a nice solid beer that tastes like a beer, so I did have that one as well. And wow, I don't think the chocolate in that was as forward as the chocolate in this, but there was enough that you got chocolate porter, and it doesn't taste like you're drinking a chocolate drink like a Yoo-Hoo or something. Oh wow, maybe any brewers out there watch this. Maybe a Yoo-Hoo beer. I mean, it can't be any worse than the Cheerwine that I did last week. Um, no, don't. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Um, Stick with traditional stuff and then add different fruits and other flavors as you see fit. You know, the Cheerwine thing, I appreciate what Noda did. And I'm sure some people out there like it. A few of you have reached out to me. Y'all were able to get some over the weekend, and I spoke to some people on earlier in the week, and I've talked to some other folks via Facebook Messenger, text, email, calls, whatever. And y'all stood up. Y'all didn't like it. I really didn't care for it either, but I don't want to tell somebody not to drink a beer because just because I don't like something doesn't mean that you're not going to like it. When I talk to people all the time and they say I don't like IPAs. That's fine. An IPA is not for everybody, and I went through a period of my life where that's about all I was drinking. Now I drink them in moderation. Carl and I had 3 of them yesterday, and that video is forthcoming. It'll probably be posted later this week. Um, but it's just a lot there, and I need to condense it down. Plus, Carl and I got talking about other stuff, and we said some words that, well, I just don't want out there for the public to, Santa doesn't say those things. So anyway, that video will be coming. But back to what I was talking about with IPAs and stuff. You just haven't found an IPA you don't like, or that you do like, I should say. I'm not a big fan of wheat beers. The Noda beer that I had last week was a wheat-based beer, and I drank it with an open mind. And it wasn't the wheat that turned me off of that beer. I want to put that out there. It was a solid wheat beer. I will give them that. When you're judging a beer, especially in like the fruit beer category, or a weird style or something, you add something to it, you always want to judge what the base beer is and what the base beer is going to taste like. As long as you can taste that base beer, such as this one, I know this is a Gose. I get the chocolate, the blackberry, the vanilla, but at the end of the day, this is a Gose. And that's the way you have to look at approaching these style of beers: is the base beer what it's supposed to be, and then go from there with it. I say reach out to every style, any type of beer you can find. Just because you don't like a certain style doesn't mean that there's not one out there that you won't drink. And keep that in mind. And if you don't like it, no harm, no foul. At least you know that not to buy that one again. Give it to a friend or something. Give it to somebody else. That's what I ended up doing with the Cheerwine ales that I did last week. This one, I do have another can of this. It's not going to be shared. It's going to be drank probably one day this week. I'm going to go ahead and finish this one, and I'm signing off. Let me know what you think about this video. If there's any beers out there you specifically want me to review and try, I have contacts all over the country and could probably get about any beer you would want to get. So if there's something out there that you're like, hey, I want to know what Eric thinks about this beer, that, and it may be brewed somewhere, not distributed in North Carolina or Virginia, that doesn't mean I can't get it. It may take me some time to get it, but I will work on getting whatever beer you want me to get. And if you recommend a beer that's hard to get and you want to come on with me and Kalijah here and drink that beer and talk about it, then by all means, I'll do my best to get that beer, and you can come down to the basement here with me, with my airplane collection behind me and Kalijah, and we'll drink that beer and we'll talk about it. I'd be happy to do that with anybody that wants to have a beer with me. So I'm going to go ahead and finish off the Mountain Valley Gose. And until the next one, cheers.